Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the World of Business with Garrett Henderson. Today I have a very special guest, Mr. Ethan Wilson.
What's up, man?
Dude, I'm excited for this podcast. Our relationship goes long back. I really appreciate you coming on.
I appreciate you having me. I appreciate you coming up from Atlanta. It's not an easy drive.
Absolutely. So, I work out of Atlanta. Ethan's located in Nashville. Just a brief background. Ethan's heavily involved in the real estate multifamily markets right now, and I just thought he'd be a great person to come on and kind of explain what goes on in that process, and also get a brief background into what led him into the real estate sector. So my first question for you, Ethan, is, what was your upbringing like, your background as a child and everything like that?
Man, I'm born and raised in Nashville.
Okay.
I don't have any crazy war stories, if I'm completely honest. I had two loving parents, grew up side by side with my business partner, Eddie.
Eddie? Okay.
Who couldn't be here today. He's sick.
Shout out to Eddie. He's sick. Hope you feel better.
But, man, played soccer my whole life. Went to good schools.
Okay.
Eddie and I actually grew up. We knew each other since we were 3. Mm-hmm. And so we started playing soccer. We went to the same schools, same neighborhoods, all this.
It's awesome.
And now we're in business.
Childhood dream, man.
That's it.
That
dude.
is awesome.
Making the dreams come true together.
So did Eddie play soccer too?
Yeah.
So y'all both played. Did he play at UAH?
No, he didn't.
Okay.
We played on the same teams up through high school, and then we went separate ways for college.
Okay.
Rejoined forces after that.
Yeah, so just to piggyback off that, so Ethan played soccer competitively at UAH, and I would have been a sophomore when he was a senior, so we didn't know each other back then, but that's awesome.
Here we are.
Yeah. Now we're out into the professional world, and so let's get into the business. Like, what was the force that drove you into real estate? You could have done anything, right? What got you into real estate?
Could have done anything. The world was our oyster.
That's right. Yeah.
But I'll say we always had that entrepreneurial bite, mm-hmm. and it was probably our freshman year of college when it started to come out. We'd come home, we'd do our internships in the summer,
okay.
And then in the evenings and the weekends we started doing landscaping and hauling and moving jobs.
Right.
And there was an app called Tackle that came up and crashed during COVID. But we started doing these odd jobs left and right and just saving every penny. And that grew. We both took kind of an independent interest in real estate.
Okay.
So I was in college at Huntsville. He was in North Carolina. And really just started finding our own path in real estate. And then that came together after we quit our full-time jobs. But from that whole side hustle, landscaping ordeal, Eddie found Ryan Pineda on Instagram and started flipping couches. And so we started doing that together when I came up here. We were buying and selling couches on Facebook, making a buck however we could.
So just to kind of jump in there, he was actually on an episode with Grant Cardone. So if anybody who doesn't know who Grant Cardone is, he manages, I think he's like $4 billion of real estate properties, multifamily, across the United States. So that dude, I applaud you for that, getting on that show and almost getting a deal done with Grant Cardone, right?
Well, there's not a whole lot we can speak on that, but that did happen. We were on the show, and the outcome is still to be determined nationwide. But But my point, kind of piggybacking off that, I remember on the episode that I watched, y'all were talking about y'all were flipping like couches and sofas and like like get some money to invest, right? Like I love it. It's very entrepreneurial, and it's something that a lot of people don't have. That's exactly it, dude. Well, and it helped us get into our first house flip as well.
All right.
So we did that, and Eddie also started a sanitizing business during COVID.
Really?
And that took off. He was cleaning businesses, doing private school buses, the airport, and he had, I think, 8 to 10 employees.
Are you serious?
And yeah, it was big.
That's awesome, man.
And then
so does that company, is he still doing that?
Well, so that went down with COVID. Stuck around as cleaning floors in the airport, and that has slowly taken off since then.
So y'all are doing so you guys are doing that on top of real estate?
We're cleaning floors in the airport as well. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Every Tuesday and Wednesday night we go in. It's usually anywhere from 3 to 5 hours, and we'll just
you guys are gonna have a great Netflix documentary.
That's right.
Hopefully this podcast will be in it.
It's just the hustle, dude. We just love the grind. We love the day in, day out stuff. Wake up and get after it.
Yeah, no, I love it. Yeah, so and another question I was going to ask you, you mean playing soccer all your life, very competitive, especially, playing at the collegiate level. Do you feel like that's helped you translate into the professional world and be somewhat aggressive for your age.
Absolutely. Dude, I want to write a book on this one day. I was talking to another buddy. It's like,
Okay.
I feel like you could write a whole series on how athletic translates into business. I mean, you go into the discipline,
I agree,
to the resilience, to the leadership, teamwork, attitude, all this stuff. But I said that we were talking about this the other day. Business is the biggest competition, And so Eddie and I, we competed in soccer our whole lives.
It's a contact sport.
It's a contact sport.
Yeah, you have the analytical stuff, but the entrepreneurial stuff, the making a sale, closing the deal, competitive.
It's not for the weak. There's some sharks in the water, man. It's not for the faint-hearted.
Yeah, we're little sharks, but we're growing.
That's right, little fish. I'm gonna be a shark.
Yeah, no. But yeah, that's awesome. So I believe your first deals were 2 single-family homes, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and then you transitioned into multifamily.
Yeah. So that's, like I said, it was sort of mutually exclusive. Eddie and I learning about our own paths in real estate while we were in college and then getting into our full-time job. So he joined a flipping mentorship, and I joined a multifamily mentorship, and we started our full-time jobs. My first thing was a house hack in Huntsville. His was a condo in Nashville, but we ended up flipping a house in Nashville, and then because we had some money from the couches, from the sanitizing, all that stuff, put into that. Didn't make a lot of money, but learned a lot.
You learned, dude. We were just talking about this.
Yeah.
It's all about learning. Everything's learning.
It's the education right now.
Educational experience. Yeah.
It's not the time to
always be learning, always get experience and learn from your mistakes, and take the hits, move forward, and do better.
Yeah, we're not super focused about squeezing every single dollar that we can right now. I mean, we're not going to wake up tomorrow and be millionaires. But if we can get the 1% better every single day, it's like you wake up every day in college and get on the field and you go train or you work out and do something just to get a little bit better every single day. And then it's just keeping our heads down.
You got to focus on the craft, right? For you in real estate, right? Like, how do I learn? How do I get in the weeds? How do I learn as much as possible about investing, like the cap rates, the ROI, the 1035 exchanges, the depreciation, like all of the little things, all of the things you can get into the weed of, and the more you know, the better you're gonna do, and that does take time, but it's possible, and you're starting it at such a young age. I mean, and that's big time. To do the things that y'all are doing right now at your age, like it's very, very rare.
We appreciate it. Yeah. It's a long game, though, for sure.
It is a long game. Yeah, I know. We talk about it all the time. So I want to get into the multifamily. So you switched from single families to the multifamilies.
Yeah.
I believe the first multifamily was red brick, correct?
It was red brick.
It was red
24
brick.
unit in Huntsville, Alabama.
Yes, sir. I remember it when you guys got it. Yeah, so like what was one of the toughest, if you're allowed to say, like kind of give me like a tough obstacle that you and Eddie had to, to fight, to overcome, to get that deal across the line? Because I remember it was a stretch of a deal. It was tough, right? I mean,
it was a show.
It was a show. I remember it, yeah. No.
But I mean, obstacles before the deal would be just learning about real estate in general. We didn't know what we were doing.
That was your first multifamily deal.
It was our first multifamily. We had looked at a ton of other deals before that and got under contract for some deals that, thank God, we didn't do. It's like, but that's how we learned. We were putting ourselves in these situations and talking to other investors, other owners in the space, and learning why we shouldn't do these deals and why we should do this instead, et cetera. And we had a good mentor here in Nashville who we would take certain deals and look at. And when we found red brick, he was like, yeah, this is actually, like, I think this is a good deal. I would invest with you in this. And so that was kind of the initial
obstacle. Your mentor invested in the deal with you?
Yeah, it wasn't the mentor that we learned about multifamily with. It was kind of an old family friend who we knew through really just the Nashville community. And he was in real estate. He's in the space. He's been a super helpful person to know, as a really important resource for our careers.
And I remember on Red Brick, I believe y'all seller financed that deal, correct?
Yeah, we did.
So could you give the viewers kind of an idea of what that means, like seller financing?
Yeah, essentially it was a situation where a bank wouldn't finance the deal. We couldn't get bank financing anyway in our position. But a bank with anybody wouldn't finance that deal because of the situation. It was.
You guys got crafty on that deal.
It had to be that way.
Yeah.
And so I love this story, dude. It was like nobody could buy it cash, of course. A bank wouldn't finance it, and we made this crazy offer to Paul over at
I remember
you guys.
Shout out to Paul McDonald.
Yeah, and just didn't get a response. They just moved on and whatever. I was just like, we were like, okay, whatever. We're going to do our own thing for a year. A year goes by, and we closed the deals almost with the same exact terms that we had offered a year ago.
When did y'all close, like December-ish?
We closed May of 23.
Okay.
Yeah, but it offered like a year before that, and it just sat there.
Yeah, I remember there was like a little. Well, I think the owner didn't want to sell or backed off, and then I think you guys made that offer where you got really crafty, and you guys made lemonade without lemons. I mean, you just made it happen.
That's how it had to be.
Dude, that's what I'm saying, bro. Like I look at you guys, I'm like in real, dude, you guys are killing it, man.
Dude,
you guys are bulldogs. You guys are bulldogs. Like there's no telling no. You just make it work. I love it. I mean, it's like.
But dude, yeah, I mean it wasn't a simple process. It wasn't like make the offer a month or 2 months later you close. We had all these assumptions going into it, and then we went to due diligence, and we don't want to build our reputation as being retraders every single time. This is the only deal
that
we're
is
trading.
Very true.
But we found so many things that were not right. I mean, people weren't paying. The tenants who were there were horrible. There was just plumbing issues all over the place. All of these different repairs that had to be done that weren't exactly, we weren't made aware of beforehand. And so we had to retrade. It was a lot of negotiations. But the seller understood. I mean, I think we both came out with a win-win situation.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of elaborating on that. I was a broker. For you guys who don't know, I did commercial real estate. I was a multifamily broker. So, I worked on a lot of apartments and stuff like that. That's how we met. Like kind of going back to like the reputation thing, right? Because you're young, you're ambitious, you're driven. You want to get deals done, but you also don't want to burn your reputation.
Yeah.
You don't want to get a deal and it fall out. So how do you and Eddie handle that? And what are y'all's like, kind of like your...
In that case, we just had to explain it.
Right.
It was just the truth of what it was, honestly. It's not like we went into it like, we're going to put this under contract at this price and these terms, and then we're going to wait till the last minute and change everything up.
People do that.
Yeah, of course.
I've had it happen to me.
But that's not the reputation that we want to build.
Yeah, so, you're in it for the long game. I love it.
As these things came up, we made the brokers aware. We made the owners aware. We had a lot of calls back and forth, and it was like, it wasn't, this is what we're going to do. We're going to drop the price and get better terms and all this stuff. It was, how are we going to figure this out?
And correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm probably wrong. When you guys retraded, didn't you guys just get craftier on the seller financing? I mean, isn't that kind of how y'all...
Yeah, we lowered the down payment and we lowered the price, so both.
So you lowered, okay. And the interest rate was lowered too, or?
We had extended. We had a 1% IO period that got extended to a year instead of like 10 months or something.
You got interest only.
Yeah. So we were paying, for the first year, we were paying $1,100. Our mortgage was less than the single family house down the road, which was crazy.
That is crazy. Yeah, so that's awesome. Let's go to Cookeville. So right now you just bought a 11-unit deal in Cookeville.
Yep.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Getting another one across the line. So I think you were telling me you bought it at around $60 a door.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to put in $2,500 a unit or so, bump the rent.
$25,000 a unit.
$25,000 a unit.
Yeah.
What all are you wanting to do with those units, and what are you wanting to achieve?
It's a complete reposition.
Okay.
Honestly, it was, and this was another deal that was not easy to close.
Right.
I mean, this was a 9-month process to get this deal to the finish line.
Mm-hmm.
We met this guy in January, just slowly built a good relationship with him, went under contract. A whole lot of stuff happened again, situational stuff that we had to change up the deal a couple of times. We had a couple of things that needed to change. The seller had a couple of things that needed to change, and so we finally got it closed in September. But this is a great deal. We love the deal.
Right.
It's gonna be. It was an older guy who it served a purpose. Like he did what he did with it, but he was ready to retire and get out of the game.
Right.
So it was another creative structure on this one. Partially financed it for us.
Okay.
But
this was off market.
It was off market.
So how did you find it?
We were hitting the calls, dude.
So how do you? I mean, I don't know if you can tell me this, but how do you find their numbers?
It's no secret, man. I mean, we're just out there looking up. We use Reonomy for our software.
Well, I use Reonomy. So y'all bought a Reonomy account and you call people just like a broker?
Yeah, we pulled lists and we cold call.
I love it, dude. I love that. That's hustling. Yeah.
We call, we text. That's what we were doing. We just started doing mailers and email and all this, but at the beginning it was just cold calls.
So Reonomy, how much does that cost you? Like $300 a month?
$600 a month.
600?
Yeah, but it's worth it. We got 2 deals off of it so far.
Yeah, $9,600. Yeah.
Yeah, it just depends on what you do with the data. You know, if you buy a subscription or you buy this course or that or whatever, and you don't take any action, you don't do anything, of course it's not going to be worth it.
Oh, I'm very big into investing in the business.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, if you're making money, like we just bought this new camera, you know, shout out to Marcus for recommending it. I mean, that was a pretty penny, but, you know, it's all about, you know, investing and making the quality better. And,
yep.
And I think the returns happen over time.
I agree. And to answer your question, off of what you just said as well, it's like the returns aren't going to be instant on this deal. It's going to be a whole process of, well, I mean, like I said, we're putting $25,000 into every single unit. And
right,
so,
yeah. I mean,
but the value is going to be there in a year to 18 months once we're done with everything.
The cash flow, the exit, I mean, there's 1035
Absolutely.
into the property or bigger property.
The plan is to refi and hold it and then find something else. We want to grow in Cookeville. We love the market.
Okay, so yeah, so he was telling me he loves Cookeville, Tennessee. So can you kind of elaborate on that? Like, what do you love about Cookeville? Where do you see it being in, let's say, 5-10 years?
We love Cookeville because it's a couple of reasons. It's harder for us to compete in Nashville.
That's true.
We're, of course, much smaller competitors than some of the institutions who are looking into Nashville, some of the bigger investors, the local guys, out-of-state guys, anybody really. And we need bigger returns. It's a whole lot more expensive. So we go to Cookeville. Things are cheaper. There's less competition. And it's still growing well. I mean, there's a lot of markets outside of Tennessee, outside of Nashville in Tennessee, outside of any big city.
Well, it's less competitive the lower units you get too. And if you're in driving distance, because I know a lot of these investors are from like California and Hawaii.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a gentleman from Cookeville is going to want to sell to two young guys from Nashville. So that gives you a competitive edge too, especially if you get them on the phone.
That's how we want to build it, is meeting everybody in Cookeville, just submerging ourselves in that market and meeting the owners. We built a really good relationship with that seller. He's introduced us to other people, other owners, other investors in that market. And we just want to slowly, you know, stay focused on the renovations here, but also grow the network and start growing the portfolio just by shaking hands, dude, meeting people.
So let's just say 5 years from now, how many units in Cookeville would you like to own? Or no, let's just say like how many units in general would you like to own? What's your goal? 5 years?
All of them.
Yeah, I love it. This is why he's successful.
Man, it's
exactly that right there.
It's hard to put a number on it. It's like, to some extent, yes, you need to have your goals, but you need to have the big, hairy, lofty goal that is like, you'd love to be here, but you can't get lost. For us, we don't want to get lost in that number and then lose sight of everything else in terms of the operations, in terms of the day-to-day. So when we were starting, we set a goal of 100 units by the end of our first year. We're almost at the end of year 2 and we're at 45 units. But I think we're in...
You 10x that goal.
That's right. We both feel like we're in a better position than if we had done some worse deals and some bigger deals that we own less of to get to that 100 unit mark.
Right.
It's like, take the 5-plex, for example, or this 11 unit that we bought in Cookeville. Okay. We own 100%. We're learning the operations. Those are both great deals. And Red Brick too. It's just like the education that we're getting from the deals that we're doing it's hard to put a price on that.
That is true. So you want to buy it, you want to refinance, hold it, and then maybe down the line 1035 to a bigger property? I mean, what do you think about the 1035 exchange game? Because, I mean, I know you're newer. You've never done anything like that. Because, I mean, would your investors be willing to do that? Or?
I mean, on Red Brick, I think so. Yeah. I think we could sell it 1031 and something else. For the other ones, I mean, we want to hold everything. We don't want to buy and sell. Everybody has their strategies. Right now, maybe it'll change, but right now we want to hold everything and just grow in the markets that we're in. We like the spots, we like the assets, and we have no reason to sell.
Well, I don't want to give out the industry cheat codes or anything here, but one thing that I've noticed, a lot of the big-time REITs, the guys that I'm connected with and I talk to, a lot of those bigger companies, they're buy and hold. They're not buying 1035 or 1031 exchange. You know, I think it's just it's just complicated, right? Because if you sell it at the peak of the market, okay, well now you got a couple months to go buy a property at the top of the market. So it's like, why did we even sell it? I mean, you could reposition into like out of like Nevada down into the southeast where the multifamily growth is like booming.
Yep.
You have that, but like I think buy and hold is probably the best strategy.
That's what we think, and like I said, subject to change. We'll pivot if that's not the case. But everybody that we've talked to, who's bigger investors, own a ton of apartments or commercial, whatever, their biggest regrets is that they sold property.
I think you're. No, I agree. I think you're doing it right. I mean, it's coming from an old broker who wanted you to sell.
That's right.
Well, like as a broker, I mean, you want people to sell. I mean, that's just how it goes. But like, I mean, if we're talking financially, like numbers, pen to paper, I think buy and hold is the best strategy. I mean, you can make an argument in finance, buying stocks, mutual funds. I'm not giving the advice, but you make the argument for that too.
Yep.
So, cool. So you want to own everything. Is there any other certain goals that you guys have in mind that you're striving for?
In terms of like 2 to 3 years, 5 years, 10 years?
Let's just say, would you like to have a, multi-team, like a multifamily marketing team? Would you like to have a management team? Would you like to have acquisition guys? Would you like to be sort of like going out fundraising the money? Because these companies can get big. There's a lot of different positions as you grow.
It's certainly next steps. I don't know if that's going to be in a year or if that's going to be in 3 or 5 years that we'll bring on a big team and whatnot. But as we grow in the markets that we're in, we'll bring in people to help manage the portfolio. Okay. We self-manage everything right now. So it's a handful, it's headaches, but we can do it. It makes us more money that way. It's better for our investors. It's better for us. The goal is to grow and hire that out. We've talked about getting into development down the road. We've talked about farther than that, getting into buying and selling businesses down the road. But right now it's like we're not trying to chase all these shiny objects. We focus on the multifamily. We want to acquire good assets. We want to nail down the operations, and we want to stay in our lane.
Yeah, no, that's great. Development, that's interesting. So you can see yourself developing potentially?
One day. We're in Nashville. There's a lot of people doing
what do you think the end goal here is? Like, what would you want to develop? Like A-class apartments? Would you want to do townhomes?
We've talked about it all. We have a lot of buddies who develop single-family homes in Nashville, or small multifamily, and that's cool. I think it's, of course, there's good money in it, but you're helping the community. You're developing. We would be developing the city that we love, that we're from.
Yeah, and then giving back to the community. You're building units.
Of course, and then
there's a pretty big shortage. In
the
Southeast.
There's always going to be a shortage in markets like these. But I think it would be cool to develop big multifamily apartments, big commercial retail spaces, stuff like that. But like I said, we don't have a roadmap planned out. How
you never know. I've seen some real estate investor syndicates that started off just like you guys, and now they're developing $60 million deals in Huntsville and Nashville. So there's anything's possible. Anything that you want to accomplish, you'll accomplish.
We'll see where the wind blows us, I guess, where the road takes us.
Yeah. Well, cool. I don't really have any other questions for you, but man, I really appreciate you coming on. This was like a great podcast and talking to you about everything. And
yeah, man,
I'm excited just to watch your future, and I think you're handling yourself in a great way, and you're going to continue to be successful.
I appreciate it. We're excited to grow along you as well. Just keep up with the story.
All right, brother, man. I appreciate it.